Nirko Riskin, welcome to the Soccer Queens podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I can't wait to talk to you today. So, we met a year ago and I came out to work with your daughter's team in Central Florida, which was so fun. And I just love like everything you and your husband had planned that night. It was just such a great experience. I love what you're doing with the team and with Anya. Obviously, Anya, your daughter, was on last month for her athlete story, which is really
Yes,
cool. So I figured it would be great to have you on to just talk about your experience as a parent to a young female soccer player and just like some advice for other parents and just how you are involved or not involved in certain things with Anya. And we'll also talk about you just released a book, which we'll get to. You're a business owner as well. So this is going to be really fun. But let's just kind of talk about just soccer parenting, like any words of wisdom and just kind of the journey as Anya started getting serious about soccer.
I'm so happy you're asking because I've been talking about this with other parents. Most of us didn't choose to be soccer parents. We kind of fell into it. We weren't prepared and we also didn't know how it worked. So it's been quite the journey. I think we've been in it for 5, 6 years now. And we thought it would be sort of recreational, something that she loved to do. She was trying. She also tried dance and she also um, she's a great artist, actually. She can paint and draw, and she wins awards for these things. So we were just trying to see what was she interested in at the time, and then she started realizing that she really enjoyed soccer. But soccer is not just going out there to the field and once or twice a week. It's sort of become our whole lifestyle. One of the reasons why we wanted to approach you was because we wanted her to start considering nutrition. And so I've had, as a parent, to change the way I buy things, prepare things, and I don't even have to tell her not to eat ice cream anymore, although she'd rather not have dairy. It's given me really perspective in how to keep her healthy. And, I try to make sure that she gets the sleep that she needs. And currently, we are struggling a little bit, I'll be honest, because she has honors classes, she's class president, she's in 3 different teams. It seems sometimes that it's not balanced. And so I'm constantly trying to make her feel like she can do it all, but at the same time, remind her that she's not a robot, that she's a human and that she needs to eat well and sleep and also have fun. So, in fact, last night we agreed to have a little bit of a deal. We're going to go visit grandparents in South Florida, but next weekend we'll block it so that she can see her friends because around all of this varsity and competitive and then she's in another elite team, it just seems to me that it can start really draining them a little bit, especially at the age of 14, where they want freedom and they want to be a little bit more independent.
So one of the biggest changes I've seen with Anya and working with her is her nutrition has significantly improved and
Yes.
she's really like just taken everything she's learned and I know she's like loving like increasing her protein and just really like prioritizing those nutrient dense foods first so that she feels amazing. And, it's not to say she can't have like a treat from time to time, but I would say overall, Anya is very intentional with what makes her feel best and to be able to handle that schedule and being able to focus in school. And nutrition is a big piece of that. But I did like what you said about how you as a parent have gotten involved in this to set her up for success with her nutrition and help with the groceries. And it's so interesting because the other day I had a parent kind of be resentful that she had to like cook for her daughter and help with like her new nutrition plan. But my response is, well, that's kind of your job and your contribution to making sure that your daughter has the right foods in front of her and she's able to perform at a high level in sports and in school. And I know that your family cooks a lot and
We
Anya
do.
said that on the call and I
Oh,
think
she
that's
did.
so yeah. Yeah, she said, mom's always making like yummy like steak and fish and just like these great nutritious foods and and I could just see on her face, like, she was glowing, she was vibrant, she just had
Mhm.
a different energy about her, and I just want to, like, thank you for that because
Oh.
girls will only be successful with nutrition if the entire household is on board.
Yes, so we happen to have a lot of GI issues. My husband is celiac, and I have a strict diet as well. So I figured I've tried everything, and nothing works better than making your own meal. So every week, every Sunday, I order groceries or I pick them up myself. And I make sure that instead of candy, I try not to buy candy. In fact, we don't really eat it, only maybe around Halloween because there's extra, and we give it away actually. But what I like to have is a lot of fruit available, all kinds, like a variety of color, and so that she can grab something that looks more nutritious. But I also cook every day. I do. I know some people do the prep planning. That doesn't work. I just can't separate. I just can't do it. Just do it every night or every afternoon, however I can help around the house. I buy the things that we need. So we make a lot of rice and beans and steaks and chicken and fish, things that are gluten free. And then I add a lot of carbs. So then we have pasta. I mean, really, gluten free can be anything because nowadays you can buy anything. And I make extra, like for like 10 people, and we're only three here. I only have Anya. And so I make extra so that she can take it to school. She really doesn't like cafeteria food. I mean, a lot of it is fried or pizza or hot dog, and she's not into it. And she has noticed a difference. And people are jealous. The kids are like, "Where did you find that? Who's making that yummy food?" And she says she lets them try it. And I said, "Well, do I have to send more?" So I didn't know about that. I just found out about it. Apparently, it looks pork chops. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, so I make a lot of nice Hispanic food. And
Yes.
I find that she's super into it. And then, of course, bacon because, she says, Erica Sutter says that we gotta eat bacon every day. So I have to buy 2 packs of bacon a week. But, I'm loving it. It's almost like you are inspiring her to take care of herself. So it's part of her self care, just like she likes her skincare. Now it's all about food. And that's not to say that every now and then she'll shove a cupcake,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
also gluten free, but she will, and I encourage that. I didn't want her to feel guilty about it. She would say, "Well, I don't know if I should eat this." I'm like, "Well, you've been burning a lot of calories. You're the person that can eat that or 2. It's okay." And it's not every day. So, yes, it's good to know that you can still eat those little things that you love, cookies, every now of course, you know, that's what we try to do here. I don't know.
Exactly, that's so important. It's
Mhm.
okay, like, from time to time. I think that, there can be some fear-mongering around that, "Oh my gosh, if you have a cupcake, the world will end." But it's not the truth. It's more so like that chronic consumption, but if you're focused on those nutrient-dense foods and the proteins like Anya is, then, yeah, you can certainly have something from time to time, but what I found with a lot of girls who make this change is when they kinda do have that treat from time to time, they're like, "Oh, I kinda look forward to going back to foods that make me feel good." Like, it's so interesting how your body responds. Has she had that at all?
I will say that I mean, she used to love a lot of candy and sweets like any other child. I will say that she stopped doing a lot of that. We do a lot of acai bowls,
Yep.
which she enjoys, and I love the fruit, but she will make it herself. Like the other day, she got home and she made a plate of fruit, and it just looks so good. She put a little Nutella on the side, and again, that's fine. And it's just I just love that she's conscientious about it, and it's almost automatic, and I don't think your body misses sugar when you stop eating that much sugar.
Mhm.
It happens to me too. I don't If I don't eat it for a long time, I don't miss it, so your body almost stays, it craves what you've been eating the last 2 weeks as opposed
Mhm.
to 3 months ago. That makes sense.
It does. Your chemistry definitely changes in your brain and your taste buds as
Yeah.
well, and when you decrease that stuff a lot, you, tend to have, like, very, like, averse reactions when you, like, reintroduce every
Mhm.
now and then.
100%.
And some of that is enough of a deterrent to be like, "All right, I'm gonna focus on the nutritious, satisfying foods where I feel at my best." Now, as far as your cooking, I had a question about that because
Okay.
you are busy. Like, you are an entrepreneur, an author, a coach,
Mhm.
like, you do a lot,
I
and I
do.
think a lot of parents listening are like, "Okay, well, how the heck do you make time for cooking and helping your daughter with her meals for like school lunches and just with everything going on? Because that's the biggest struggle I hear from parents. And I want them to know that it is possible. But like, what are some of your tips for that?
Yeah, so every week I try to buy a lot of protein. It could be a chicken, pork chop, steak. I should do more fish. I'm just not in the fish mood lately. I'm just I don't know. I'm doing the chicken and all these things more than the fish, but that's obviously a good one. Also, she didn't like reheating fish in the cafeteria, and I get it. It smells. So
Yeah, yeah.
so we're not doing a lot of that, and I agree. I used to feel the same at work where it was like, "What is up with that smell? Somebody's reheating fish in the So we're trying to avoid that, but I think what I do, honestly, every day, I feel like I take an hour where I say, "Okay, I am going to cook," and I actually talk to her. She's doing homework, she's right next to me, or I listen to a podcast so it doesn't feel like I'm working, and I may make a lot of rice that can last for 2 or 3 days. I'll
Mhm.
also make spaghetti, pasta that can last 2 or 3 days, and I always have sauce. Again, I'm a garlic sensitive person, so I have to buy special sauce for that. And then I know she can make if I make, for example, ground turkey is my favorite for tacos. So we make taco night. I make extra meat that she can eat with rice, or she can put it on top of pasta with sauce. It's very easy in the morning to prepare a little bowl, microwavable bowl, put in the leftovers from the last 2 days and take it to school. So that's kind of, it's easy, beans. I'll do beans also. She likes rice and beans. And so I should probably cook more veggies, but I'm Puerto Rican and I don't know why I didn't grow up with a lot of veggies. I love them. So every now and then I try to put like peppers or something. I love potatoes, but I know it's a carb. So again, I just try to mix it up so that I make a lot of chicken strips. And again, I can slice the chicken and put it over the pasta, or she can just eat the chicken with the rice or a veggie. I just make sure that she has sides and the protein so that she can grab it and take it. I also do tomatoes, sliced tomatoes, which is very easy to do. And then I buy mozzarella, we call it tomato mats, the mozzarella that comes sliced already. So I may put them in baggies, and she loves eating tomato and mozzarella together. And that's like another little side that she can do. Mac and cheese, if we're desperate, microwavable because
Yeah.
it's easy, and maybe I just have the steak and there's nothing, she can just grab a little microwavable mac and cheese, make it, and eat it with the steak. Again, just trying to it has to be easy. I am busy. It's not fancy foods. It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's nutritious, and it feels good, and she's practicing in the afternoon and practicing at night, so there's another meal after school, and sometimes another meal at night, because they
Yeah.
are hungry and they're developing, especially when they're 14, their hormones, and they need food. They need food, they're hungry. They're
Yes.
growing.
And I really like that how you said it can be simple. Parents
Yes.
don't have to be like this culinary artist, like master chef, like making these
Like that.
crazy dishes, right? Like it can be really simple and it can only take an hour of your time, which is what you're doing. And do you do it every Sunday? Like kind of
So,
set aside
I do
time?
the purchasing is on Sundays
Okay.
because we have all of the things we love to eat during the week. I cook almost every day.
Okay.
I may skip a day. I may DoorDash a day.
Yeah.
Yesterday was DoorDash day. Mama was tired. And listen, there's no time. But there was leftover for her today from 2 days ago.
Right.
And we DoorDashed the same things we're eating. We didn't
Yeah.
DoorDash burgers, although burgers are great after a game
Yes.
on a weekend, So I think it's okay to eat things you're craving because every now and then I want a burger. But
Yeah.
yes, I am very much into cooking at home. And I've tried everything. I had somebody making meals for us,
Mm.
but she's like, it just doesn't taste like how you cook it. I'd rather you cook it. It's something that I do for us that I think it's nice and is healthier, less greasy,
Mhm.
less fatty. I don't know.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, if you can, try to cook your own foods as much as possible. If you're at a soccer tournament and away, of course, go out to a restaurant. But even at that restaurant, you can pick a
That's right.
very protein forward and whole foods option.
Mhm.
And that's great. And even at like a Wawa gas station, they have like turkey sandwiches or
I
like
heard.
chicken wings. And
I've seen
it's,
great things from Wawa. I'm like, where did you get that?
yeah,
Like,
Wawa is
the
great.
parents,
And like,
they have
there's
like
one at
an
every
avocado
soccer tournament.
toast. I'm like, avocado toast from Wawa?
Yeah.
This
Hey,
happy
some of
love
their
chicken.
stuff is awesome, and even at we're in Florida, so even at Publix, like, their hot foods bar, I love their chicken tenders, their wings, like, they got some good, like, pulled pork, like, there are protein forward options everywhere for our girls to feel full and feel satisfied and get that muscle building and muscle recovery, so I think this is such a good message because parents can keep it super simple. Cook as much
Absolutely.
as you can, but it doesn't need to be this revolutionary
No.
meal. Use DoorDash when you need, eat out at a restaurant, just make good choices, and that's it. Now, I want to ask you, how has, Anya inspired you? Because we were talking off air, and
Yeah.
I was asking you, like, how you have helped her, which is what a lot of people would say, "Oh, the parent helps the kid," but you said she actually inspires you. So can you explain that a little bit?
Maybe I can start crying now.
That's okay. We've had that. I've done it on the podcast.
Okay, good. She's not only my miracle baby, right? So she's somebody that I waited for an entire lifetime. But I think what is really cool about Anya is that she's very brave, and when she gets on that field, most likely she'll leave it all on the field and still leave the field wanting more or staying positive. And that's something that I admire and that I certainly, I mean, she inspired me to write this book also. I feel like she shows me that you can push through things and still try to do better and stick with it. And so I also play tennis. I started playing tennis a few years ago, and I'm obsessed. And have when I'm playing matches, and I was playing a match yesterday, and I won. Yes. With my partner, I remember I was about to serve, and I said, "Anya, we'll still fight for this." And we were on a tiebreaker. And I just threw the ball and I just smacked it. And she has no idea how she inspires me. And I tell her sometimes that I don't think they know that as much as we give them, they also teach us about life. And so I never played sports. I was very much a nerdy student kid, and my parents didn't care. I mean, I think in Puerto Rico, they didn't know many people that played sports. It didn't sound like something that you would do. I think my focus was always on getting good grades and getting a job and making money. So that was my route. And so for me, sports is like a new thing. And she really does show me what it takes. And it's a lot of sacrifice. And it's getting back up the next day and trying to fight again when you've been beaten down, because sometimes you don't win all of your games. And how do you keep pushing forward? It's all these things that we could all use as adults to push through every day. We can't say that we wake up every day smiling and it's going to be a perfect day. That's not true. Sometimes we're not feeling good. And yesterday was sucky. And today I got to somehow smile in front of people and do my job. So again, I think there's a lot of similarities here. And I think I love, love, love that soccer has taught Anya many life values. I don't have to even say it because she's learning it already. And the teamwork, working with other girls to accomplish something. It's at this age, it's challenging, but it's not different what she's going to face later in life. It's really not.
I'm gonna start tearing up as well. That was so amazing. I appreciate you sharing that, and I can definitely agree. Anya is such a fighter. Like, that was one of the first things I noticed about her when I came out to work with the team. Like, she really stood out in that sense. But at the same time, she's also just like the sweetest girl ever.
Right.
So don't be deceived because she's
Mhm.
really fiery.
She has both. I wonder where she got that from.
Yeah,
She's
right.
she's very social though. I will say she's more social than me. But she gets energy from people to being around other girls and boys and at school. Like she's just very, yes, she's very kind and very much fun. And so yes, she gains energy from that, but she has fire. And so do I. I mean, my book is called Unstoppable. So that tells you, yes,
Yeah,
that
I was
tells
just gonna
you
say it just sums up you guys.
can stop me. And so I have realized that about myself that if you try to stop me, I'll push harder. That's just gonna give me more fire. And you need that. And I certainly needed it yesterday in my match. And I had this fire and I had it for so long that I went to another appointment after the match. And my heart was still worked up because I just wanted to win. And I had this fire. And the truth is because I had lost last week and I was not happy about it. And I gave it my all, but it didn't matter. Sometimes you don't win. And so what are you gonna do about that, right? The next time you show up.
So I love the title. I love the cover. I love this book. I like your color choice. I'm a purple
Yes,
person as
you're a
well,
purple
if you
person.
can't tell.
We love
But
purple.
um I had the chance to read through this, and one of my favorite parts of the book was when you talk about authenticity and just really like owning who you are. And I know like your audience with this book is more like entrepreneurs, women in business, but I think this can be such a good message in sports as well.
Hmm. Authenticity. I think it's a whole section. And I was talking about it this morning. I was at Kiwanis and we were talking about how to lead with love. And one of the things that you have to do is to look at yourself deeply and really consider being authentic and transparent. Meaning, when you go out there into the world, anything that you touch, whether you say something, you write something, you are on social media, however you present yourself, it has to be what you see is what you get. And a lot of us try to be safe, right? Are not comfortable. And in fact, I have an assessment that I give people so that they can learn how it's called a DISC assessment and they learn how to communicate with others. And the whole point of the assessment is for you to learn about how you communicate with others, but really to learn about how others communicate as well so that you can put yourself in other people's shoes. And what's interesting about the assessment is that it has two graphs, and one of them tells you how you are at home and the other one tells you how you are at work or in your community. And so when I have taken this assessment twice, and twice my charts are exactly the same. So that means that what you see is what you get. How I communicate at home is the same person that you'll see outside in the world. And what's good about doing this is that you're not really tricking people, you're really creating some sort of safety. Because if you show up the same way today and next week you show up the same way again, people start trusting you. And so, what we're creating is a pattern of stability, of clearly called branding. So this is what I teach, personal branding. If you're the same person every single time, an authentic person, and you people can see right through you, right? So they can see whether you're putting a facade or whether you're really real with them. They can. And so I think it's better to just come across as who you are. Now it requires some confidence. I mean, I'll admit that you have to believe in yourself and just show up the way you want to show up. And that way, if you show up the same way every single time with the same person, you're building trust. And what happens after that is magical because now they say, well, every time I think about Erica Sutter, I know exactly what she looks like. I know what she wears. I know how she talks. I know how her product is, her work product. So if I collaborate with Erica, I know what I'm getting. So I want to do something with Erica, maybe a project. I mean, clearly, Erica is an influencer, right? And so, this is what I teach also in personal branding. So, authenticity for me is huge. Now, I know it's not easy, and sometimes it depends on your role. For example, if you're a CEO, you're not going to be extremely friendly because you're not there to be friends all the time. You have to be approachable, but you also have to be authoritative, right? Like you have to tell people what to do and how to do it. So, again, but for me, I'm more interested in how are you showing up every week? How are people seeing you? And so I have other assessments where we ask people how they see you. And sometimes people are shocked. Like, really? Do you see me that way? And that's a moment of growth. And you can either agree or disagree. People might see you in a different way. That's okay. They don't have to agree all the time. But if you want to change something about yourself, because now they're seeing you, and this has shown up, like maybe they say, "Oh, you're so confident." And you're like, "What? Do I appear confident? Wow, I didn't know that." I'm always nervous inside, right? So we want feedback from third party so that we can figure out whether what I'm putting out there in the world is what I want to put in the world. And then you decide whether you want to change something or not.
I can't help but think about how we can relate this to the youth soccer world, especially in the college recruiting space, and how a lot of college coaches are they're seeing you as a personal brand in a way, and they
Mhm.
want to know what your role is going to be if you play on their team. And a lot of college coaches do look at girls' character. They do look at how they're presenting themselves on social media.
Mhm.
And it's really important for girls to understand that you have to be the best person you can be and not just put on this facade, because when you do go on that campus visit, they'll very well know who you truly are. So I think this is like such a good message.
Yes, it's like almost like recruiting, right? When a company wants to hire somebody, it's the same thing. I can imagine the colleges want the best team and perhaps character, personality, getting along with others, kindness also matters. I can see that not only your ability to perform and do your role and what you need to do, but also do you fit in? And in fact, when I look at, I worked in HR, human resources before, and I've been a recruiter also. And I remember thinking, looking at resumes, and they're all looking the same. So I'm imagining soccer girls is the same thing. They have similar ability, similar age, they can do the same role, but what's your brand? What differentiates, let's say, Anya from two other players? Most likely is her leadership ability. She's social, she can get along with others, right? As opposed to giving attitude or being or maybe an introvert, right? So there, because it's okay to be an introvert, not everyone has to be out there all the time. But if you are an introvert, then you need to know you got to work on that. You have to be able to look at people in the eye and say hello and shake hands and how are you? To there's some sort of presence that you probably have to work at when you start interviewing or meeting people that are, especially if you want to play for a team in college or go pro. Some of them want to go pro. So I can imagine that. I never thought about that. I clearly I'm in the business world, but I think it would apply the same.
That was such a great section of the book. Now, the next section I really liked was the one on really like believing in yourself. And if you can like see your end goal or what you want to accomplish and you truly believe it, like you can make it happen. So, do you want
Yes.
to get into that a little bit more?
So, yes, okay. So I'm in college. I start the book with a story, a personal story. And I remember thinking I wanted this job so bad, and I didn't know how to stand out. I had similar grades to everybody else. Yes, I had done something in leadership, but how was I going to get that job? And there were only three jobs given that semester in Puerto Rico, and I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? And I started crying, right? Because I just literally didn't know what to do. And so what happened next was really interesting. I started to think about doing with a friend, doing something innovative, something to help me stand out within a bunch. And we came up with many ideas, like write a newsletter, go to the association. And the next thing you know, I'm president. The next thing you know, I'm planning a job fair. And the next thing you know, they offered me the job. And so I was one of three people, and I was the only woman that semester. How did that happen? Well, I had to be creative. You have to be creative. You have to find a way to stand out. So in the book, I have this process where, if you have a unique personal brand, it would definitely make you stand out. And then it will definitely bring you opportunities that will definitely make you unstoppable, right? So I think, you have to sort of think outside of the box. And yes, I think even for Anya, we've been thinking about how are we going to prepare you to stand out, right? Because there's so many girls doing so many things and at so many levels. So we are thinking, well, maybe we could do short clips and we can highlight those. And then we can also highlight your leadership ability, because we were thinking personality and character was also interesting. So that when she is meeting people, she's able to talk about these things and stand out that way. Because we realize sometimes, and especially in my case, I wasn't top of my class and I wasn't, but that was okay. I was bringing other things. So I think it's really important to be able to dream big and dream of that goal. And how are you going to attack the goal, right? You can't just say, I mean, I like the idea of vision boards and you just cut out your little clippy and you put it on a thing. And but to me, that doesn't do much if you don't have an action list, or how are you going to strategize? So, yes, I want that job. Yes, I want that position in a team. I want to play sports in college, but how are you going to get there? Because by sitting around and not doing much and hoping to get picked, well, not sure. Maybe it does happen. People do see you, or, somebody comes and a scout and happens to be there at the right time. But what if they are not there at the right time? Or what if we live in the middle of Florida, we're not in Tampa or Orlando. So, these are the things we think about. And yes, that's kind of what I talk about in the book.
I agree with you on the vision boards. I mean, it's great to put it all on paper and, like, make the little, like, magazine cutouts, but people can't think, "Oh, if I just do that, magically my dreams will happen." I like that in the book, you're so actionable and,
Mhm.
strategic with
Yes.
how people implement and just, like, take action on these goals. So do you just wanna kinda, like, walk through some of the steps?
100%. So I start talking about, so going back to personal branding. I'm interested to know who you are and where you're going. So we start with that. And then we list the goals. Like, what are your goals? So let's say, for example, and let's use Anya and the topic of soccer. One of Anya's goals is to play soccer in college. So that will be her first goal. And then we look at the strategy. Okay, so what kind of strategy? What is the specific strategy that you have in mind? Say, well, maybe the strategy will be something like, um, approach colleges with my profile, with my portfolio, right? As many colleges as I can, or colleges I'm interested in. Let's say she wants to stay in the South. And then you move on to the next thing, which is how are you going to do that? Because I am more interested in the how. A lot of people have ideas, big ideas, but they don't know how to implement them, right? So the next step would be, how are you going to do that? Okay, so perhaps I find a list of coaches and I will have the what we were talking about, the video clips, the my leadership profile. I even have a resume already ready for her, with all of the great things she's done in high school and middle school, because she has done. I want them to see that she's a full rounded individual too. And so, if you and then also show her, let's see what she's doing competitive in the elite program, because she's also in this elite program that plays in the World Cup of Youth. What is it? In Sweden. So she's going to Sweden again. So all of these things, I think it will be great to just lay it out. And so that could be an action list. And what the beauty about this is that you're constantly working towards your goal. You do this every 3 months, right? Every 3 months you check off what you're working on. And then, after a while, you review it. Is it working? Is it not working? Do we need to change the technique? You do an assessment of where you're at after you're trying all of these actions. Because I really do think that you have to be intentional. If you don't write it down, if you don't, because I do say that in the book too, write it down, you know, put comments on there. And it's okay. If something didn't work, it didn't work. Come up with something new. Just be creative and innovative. Because I'm telling you, I've been seeing it with my clients, coaching clients over and over. It works. But you have to be intentional and you have to have actions.
I really like the idea of writing the goal down and then writing down the steps to get there. I think writing is so powerful because it,
Mhm.
like, just really reminds you, okay, this is what I need to do. It's what I need to take action on. So that's amazing. Now you kind of wrap up the book with, and I think this is so awesome and just such a good lesson for sports and for life. But you said the process of becoming unstoppable never ends.
Mm-mm.
That is fantastic because with, like, younger girls, the end goal could be playing college.
Right.
but we don't talk enough to athletes about that transition
The
into the
after.
real world when soccer ends. And
Mhm.
when it happens, because it will end one day when you
That's
play
right.
competitive sports and you got to do adult leagues and all that. But it
Mhm.
does end, and a lot of people are just shocked and don't know what to do with themselves. So, what advice would you have in that sense?
I mean, I truly love this. I think you always have to consider that you will be challenged in your life and that you should not dream. You should not have like just a few dreams. Your goals should be much bigger. So I think having awareness of, yes, I completed this goal, but what's next? It's going to happen. So it doesn't end after college, right? After college, many things can happen. You could probably keep playing soccer. You could start a family. You can run a business. You can go work for corporate. I know people that are amazing in leadership positions, and their background is solid sports, and which is amazes me. People like hiring sports and sporty people and athletes because they are, they're fast and furious and they work really hard and they're dedicated. I mean, they have great principles and values. So yes, I think, and also as parents, we should also be talking about these things. Like, what if you don't? Like, sure, we hope that you get to that school and get that, you know, role and position that you want. But what if you don't get it? What is plan B, C, and D? And so those could be goals too. And this is life. Life will throw you curveballs also. And you can't just think that you're always going to get it. And perhaps you don't get exactly what you want, but you get pretty close to it. And so maybe that's the track that, life threw at you, and that's okay. So yes, we should be also very much realistic. And I'm a planner, so if something doesn't work, or goes my way, I will find a way to get pretty close to it. I will push through, and at least you try it, right? Like sometimes people are too afraid to try something. You'll never. My dad says that, it's in the book. Just try it. You'll never find out if it will work or not. Just apply. Just go and see what happens. But if it doesn't work, you cannot be disheveled and life is over. I mean, life is full of surprises, and perhaps it's meant to be and there's something else for you. But yeah, I think as a parent, I think we need to prepare them for, you know, options and choices, and that it's okay and so natural and normal.
So, everyone, Mirka's book, Unstoppable, available now. Is it mainly on Amazon, or they could just go to your website? Is it like everywhere?
I think it's everywhere by now. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, and like thousands and thousands of online shops because I think somebody distributed. I signed something where it's everywhere. So if you just type it, it should show up.
Awesome. So be sure to get her a book. I don't care who you are, whether you are an entrepreneur or working in corporate or a teenage female soccer player. Like, this is just great advice for everyone to become unstoppable. So, Nirka, thank you for chatting today and sharing your story.
Thank
This is going to
you.
help so many parents and young girls, and I truly appreciate it. So, everyone, we hope you enjoyed, and we will see you on the next episode.